Okay. Okay. Ah, yeah, again. 8. A little bit wider than that. Like that. And then we want the chat. Pop it out. Put it on a 3. And just guessing it's about there. Yeah. Okay. Let's run the application first, right? CD projects, Langfire. Also, I don't know if the music's a bit loud this time. I think it is. I can probably turn it down a little bit. Okay, that should be better. And so we look for profiles. Oh, so it's just dash profile in the name of the service, including it on a normal compose name. And client on the left. On the left. CD projects Langfire, and also you guys want. Come on. To have it like that. Profile services up. So now it should be running. Loads of directories changed in this commit. Big commit. So now if we, there we go, cool. So we are where we left off, and I'm quite happy with that. I mean, I used to have a dot that follows along with each line as the time comes back. I wonder how I did that. What else is worth doing? Let's have a look at the reference code that I have in the video. We don't need those on player ready console logs. Return process sections and then circle index circle. So there might be a circle. Yes, I have a circle. Now why does and set circle index? Oh yeah, because it checks for the oh yeah, in an interval it will check the current time and set the circle index. Do we have a process sections ref? What is the page gets it from? the store. Reader.tokens.map. Seems wrong. Seems strange because when you're on a video, also we can change this so you can see it. Let's float that. About, it's a little bit bigger. Something like that. So when you get the tokens down, they should come down in sections. Yeah, and then tokens for each section. So, but the reader tokens the reader tokens in the page, which it's processing here, is just an array. So I'm assuming when it gets the sections, the get video transcript, it must process them into an array. Yeah, see, res.data for each tokens.push. But then that, oh no, because I separate it with a new line. That's how I handle the sections. That's exactly what I thought would be happening. Because if you're going to keep the new lines for each section, you're going to new line at the end of each one. As in, like, if you're having section vertically, in like a float, in order to do that in one array, you'd have a new line at the end of every single section. But then that logic doesn't make sense for the circle, because the circle is going to be looking for divs. Does it section them off as divs? I don't remember. When it new lines, I don't think it does. I think it's just a block. Yeah. So it'd be too hard to get. I don't know if I could get the line index from here without having a div for each line. So like this through to the end of this line would be wrapped in a div, and then you'd get the height of that. Like you could always get the height of the first word, but identifying the first word. Although maybe you can identify it from new line. Like always find the one after a new line. Let's have a look at how the index is set. Circle index. And then what's circle index? Section container is selected. Oh. And this would go in the page. But with the page being generic, whereas before it was copy pasted. Also, am I all good? Yeah, should be fine. With the page being generic, like an obvious way to do it would be to pass a property where it's like, is it the video? Then if it is, then process them into sections and use the circle index to render a circle. And if it's not, then don't use the circle. And just again to reiterate, what we're going to do is we'll have a little orange circle here that moves down each time as the video, because we get the time from the video like in an interval. So when we're on like 11 seconds now, it knows it's on 12, and the sections also have, oh, the sections also have a timestamp. So, I mean, doing it in here, where is... I thought there was like set circle. Oh yes, because I'm doing circle. If current time is greater than section offset. That doesn't seem like it'd work. Like greater than, that means like there's, you know, half of the sections could be greater than. You'd want to break or return after you set it. Let me think. So what I was looking for is the sections have a timestamp. Oh yeah, so current index. I guess in the page what we could do is, instead of, if it's a new line, then we can identify it as a section. But then would that be enough? Would that clash? So what I'm thinking is in the page, which works for the reader too. So in the reader, every single time we hit a new line, we can wrap it in a div. So I think the first new line is actually here. I think all of this is otherwise not new lined. Yeah, there'd be no sense for it to be new line because none of these are at the end of a sentence, right? So that's the first new line. So what we'd essentially be doing is for all of these divs, which make up the first paragraph, we'd be magically inserting a div around them, and then we can consider that a section. A div that doesn't do anything to the markup other than exist as a reference container. And that would work for these stories. I don't think I'd have a clash. Which would also work for the YouTube, where each new line, you can see that each section, well, like you can see them, like this one, for example, this somehow here. Like you can see that this is a section that's close to each other. We could do that. So in the markup, it would be like, it's like we'd be pushing a closed div. I don't think I have ever actually, like, let's just say if true, just for the sake of, I don't, and then we do return. Can we do closing div? Let's just do is word. Like it lets us if we started with the div, but we can't add a closing tag on its own. I wonder how these get marked up. Like, so words markup returns the elements in JavaScript. Maybe this is one to ask ChatGPT. Like, again, I've never seen. So my intention would be to, you'd essentially do like, if the index is, so here, like if I equals 0, we're returning. So you do like let prefix let suffix, and then if I equals 0, prefix equals div without its closing to start it, and then if section identified as ended, return closing div. Let's just put it as a string for now, because then it's still valid code. Closing div. We're going to do suffix. If I does not equal the end, I does not equal reader dot tokens, then suffix plus equals. Why doesn't it understand? Am I doing the logic wrong? It's like if it's not the last one, we're going to open the div again. But if it is the last one, then we only want to close. And then we want to return prefix. I've never seen what it will say about operate. That's so strange. You can concatenate? Like, if that works, that's crazy. Like, you can concatenate strings with React components. So now that we've given like enough context to ChatGPT, we can ask, like, is this valid? Like, what is the right approach to this? So can you see that my intention is to wrap every section once they are identified in a closing div? I mean, you could probably like think well, yeah, I've never, yeah, so the question is really, my problem is I have never pushed a opening or closing tag alone in an array. I'm not sure this works with strings, even though it seems to allow me to concatenate without LSP error. Surely this has been done before. What's the right approach? What's the right approach? Use React fragment. See, even it's getting like syntax issues. If section open. Oh yeah, elements.push with the key is section I. Yeah, and also knows that I want a key. Probably because React thinks every child needs to have a key. I mean, it seems to make sense. I just don't know if this is going to be valid. Oh, is it okay if you See, when I wrote return a closing div, it said that it's not defined as a reference. So I would be surprised if this is valid. Argument of type Boolean is not assignable to never. Let's just do any. Cannot find name let. Oh, I know why. It's because we're not in a function body. Let's tell ChatGPT cannot find name div. Cannot find name div. Like that's like I could do it if the LSP was happy with me doing that, I would be able to do it. Yeah, this is where you go. You push the completed section, and you build a current section as you go. Yeah, this is right. So we don't need this. We don't care about that, or that, or that, and we want to do current section dot push at the end without returning. So current section dot push. Get rid of that. Get rid of those. An element is not assignable to never. What does it TypeScript it up? No, we can ask it for the TypeScript soon. And then let's just start with this, because I agree with this. Do I need key in there? Key's not going to hurt us to be assigned first. Elements. So, I mean, the language server is telling us already that it's an element array. No? Oh, current section. Elements. Ah, come on, come on, come on. JSX runtime, JSX element. Okay, so it's a JSX element. Like, why? Does this get imported? Well, I can ask. ChatGPT is going to know the type. First of all, does this? It doesn't look to be markup correct. So if yeah, I'm good there, and then as soon as I paste this, maybe I copied an incorrect amount of it. It doesn't seem to be valid. Although, like, it's self-contained, like that's my block. Maybe it's just because of the... It's unlikely that this section is causing it to not format. Let's just comment that bit out, because we want to... Oh, so it's this expression. Oh, it's this or. So, there we go, okay. I see. So we can uncomment that and get rid of the or for now. And we need to add that second expression. So if the current section's length is greater than 0, that's when we push and clear, and then the condition to not start a new section. We wouldn't need the I equals 0. It would just be a condition. So we just need to figure out the condition. So the condition is when the word.display equals new line. Word.display equals new line, but we want to do it at the end because we want to still push one of these words as a new line before we push the section. And we don't want to return here. We want to push. But we want to break maybe at the same time. Looks like we need to do it. So it looks like we need to, like, if it's not, so we return at this point, and then we basically do the same thing. I'm just worrying about duplicated code here. So we do this, and we do pushing the current section dot push like this. I mean, you could probably do a search and replace, but oh, I didn't do a push on this. Dot push. I think that's what you do, but yeah, so this means we're going to push it if it is a word and if it's not a word. But then I think that you could invert this condition and then make this a simpler function, like tidier. But I guess before shooting for tidiness, I should shoot for making it work. So now I just want to say, ask ChatGPT what are the type of the sections. Also, why is it let on one of them? What are the TS types for these sections? React node. I should know that because I've got those before. Dot react node. Yeah. React node array. Like that. Let's have a look. Okay, it's imported nicely. I guess we don't need a button. I don't know if we need use state. No, we don't need use state because we're going to stick it in the store because it's communicating from the video. And then the second one needs to be the same. React node. Okay. I don't know if I have screwed that up. If I have, it might be worth inverting the condition here to have a better view of it, like logically. So we're not getting anything back, and that's because, oh, we do need to let it. Well, we could clear it with some sort of like splice. So this is because of the CSS, but we should, yeah, that's the CSS is still treating them like words, whereas each section, it needs to be a styled component instead of just a div. But that has done, or shot can take, I guess. Is that the first line?
Shot can take, I guess. I still can block with the bishop. Shot can take.
Oh, shot can take, I guess. That's the first line, yeah.
I still can block with the bishop.
I can still block with the. I still can block with the bishop, yeah. So that's correctly wrapped them in sections. I just need to do the styling back to normal, which means just Well, I mean, that's pretty simple, probably. I guess I can... Oh, I just realized that I don't have fucking power. Give me a sec. Why do I do this? Like, I take the laptop from the bedroom in the morning, and because it's easier to not carry the power plug, I don't bring the power plug originally. Oh fuck, that might have killed the camera. No it hasn't. It's okay. It's okay. I think the power stops the fans from coming on, and it was overheating a bit, which is why there's like these like in this audio. I get that when it overheats. But yeah, so we have correctly section wrapped it. So we can push this if it is a word. But then do we need anything? No, the previous conditions were just returns. So if word is word, then do this. Then we don't need to do that conditionally. That looks correct. I'm just thinking, can these two conditions, like they can't really be squashed because you still need to clear it under the condition of a new line. Do you? If you hit a new line, can you just clear it? Oh, current section dot length. So yeah, if current section dot length is greater than 0, then you clear it. But then it's like, it's not going to harm you to clear it even if it is 0. So we can take this condition and join it. Like thus. And then we can get rid of one of the conditions. I mean, I still don't like how nasty that's looking. But that should still give the same result. Yeah. I'm now just thinking, is there any way to make this a bit nicer? No. So instead of a div, we do like a... Okay, so what do we have? We have words markup that takes words. What is wrapping this though? Oh, this flex. Flex is just a utility for display flex from CSS. So as you can see, the properties align, content, justify, wrap, gap. They're just CSS property names. It would be direction. Do I have direction on this? Call. Oh yeah, like flex call, and then I guess that's true. Well, that didn't do what I was hoping. That didn't seem to do anything other than make it like slightly tidier. Well, each section can be like 100% width. Can we add a style just to start doing this? Make 100% width. But then why are these 100% width as well? Of each word? Oh. It'd be like const word. Am I looking at the wrong div? Like, why are these 100% of their parent? Maybe that's just normal CSS. Like, you'd want it to be just wide enough for the word. I think as soon as you flex this, display, flex. There we go. That's more like it, right? But then I don't like it. These are coming through as quite small, the spaces. I also don't know if they're actually padding them. Well, yeah, they are. They are padding them, so the spaces are actually adding distance between them. But this is smaller than I want it to be, I guess. Or is it? Let's see if the homepage these have been changed. Yeah, see, this is terrible. You do like a max width 100%, I believe. They should be 100. They should just be the max width of their parent. I don't know why that's not happening. Oh, the parent also needs to be a max width of 100. What do we have? Why can one of these overflow? Are we gonna add a width to this? So it's strange that the width of the section is enough to accommodate all of its children, but you want it to max out at the width of its parent, which is this. Which is just a flex. Width 100%. We need to add like max width. In this flex we get a width property. Width full 100%. Can we do max width as well? See, this is where we wonder if we break something else. And that's not even done it. So this is now overflowing. So this is the correct size. This is now, a section is now overflowing even though it's max width 100%. Probably just flex wrap, even though it's frustrating in CSS to see this flex wrap. No. What the hell? Like, why is it so big? 760 by 23. Why is it children overflowing then? I'm also concerned, why are there 2 spaces? We don't need to add the spaces. If we're adding a width div, we can have those in place of the spaces. Like, we're adding more divs than we need to. Still just casually fighting a little bit with CSS though. Like, I've added display, like, flex wrap. Although this doesn't have flex wrap on it. What happened to this? Oh, I need to loop the previous one so I don't get copyright bullshit. One of these. Why is this not saying flex wrap? Did I not save it? Class name section, that's right. And it doesn't have a key. I guess that's React not rendering the key, but why does this not have flex wrap? I would, instead of Googling CSS, flex wrap is not getting through to the DOM. It should TypeScript you, telling you that's not a property. But no. And there we go. Well, that's the sort of thing that we want. So at this point, we can probably make this a flex, and then replace these out. Widthful. Wrap. We can take a gap. I don't think we need to change the. No. So it's flex start. Justify. Did I CSS override that at all? What am I doing? Yeah, okay, now that looks normal, almost. With the gap added as well. So that looks like I've added the sections, but the markup remains as it was. So now what's annoying is, why has this wrapped? I've got like 1,000 width divs. Do I have that issue on the reader as well? Like, I don't think I do. I do not. Let me think. Oh. No. Oh, I see. Maybe it's else's here, because they used to be returns. There we go. Yeah, that's right. So I think the markup is good. Let me quickly watch the video with subtitles.
Check and take, I guess. I still can block with the bishop. Rook c8, logical. I guess I'll just take. Why not? Check. I always have knight e2 also. Check. This should be winning for me somehow. Looks like f6. Like queen to, I don't know, like f2 maybe? And I'm just trying to push key down the board. f7 is a huge threat. Actually, can I just take? Oh my god, I cover all the squares. He can't get back. Those squares are covered. He can't get back. And he loses. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Now I've like completed the subtask of wrapping them in sections while maintaining the markup. So now it's a job of identifying which section and then rendering a circle there. We have timestamps. We need to associate timestamps with the section. Or do we? If it's an empty section, do we add a section? I don't think I've ever seen an empty section from YouTube, but it might be the case that there comes an empty section, and then if there is an empty section, then we need to make sure we add it, otherwise the index misaligns. So this is what you'd want to do instead of. So the current way that I'm doing it is going over the sections and pushing each word into an array of words. And then I'm going to hope that the amount of sections aligns with, the amount of sections that I've created here aligns with the amount of sections from the transcript. Because if it doesn't align, then when you set current index based on the transcript sections, you could have the wrong index and render the circle too far or too short potentially. Well, one of those is probably true and one of those is not true, but one of those being true means it's a problem. So what you really want to be doing is passing the data of the timestamps down here, or the section index you want to, because I'm deriving the fact of the matter from two potentially not necessarily linked sources of truth. Like the right way to do it would be to get the timestamps in here. When I create a section, here, I would be adding the timestamp data on it. But because they come through the store as reader from here, and it just has an array of tokens. Yeah, so because it has just an array of tokens, there's no associated timestamp to them. I mean, we could add a timestamp to every token and then use whatever token's timestamp, like just grab one from there, but that seems messy as well. But then you don't want to, because it's like generic between the two styles of like the two views, the one for the main reader and the YouTube. You don't want to be changing the data structure and then conditionally processing it differently. You could have it as like an array of tokens, and the readers just have one member of the parent array. You'd have more than just a array of tokens. It would be like an array of objects that has tokens, because each object would have the timestamp data on it. But then that's not necessary for the normal reader. But then deriving it from two states is like, as much as it's not advisable, it's totally doable. Like when I asked the question originally of when they come through, it's the query. So when they, where are we looking? In this query, we just collapse them. If it's an empty section, we're not. Oh, we are pushing a new line if it's an empty section. So all we need to do, so each new line does identify. So that maps 1 to 1. So this is the problem, right? What we're doing is we're relying on this being a new line to inform the page processing. Where's the words markup? Because this is conditioned on new line here. That's the necessary linking. Because we know that the from the query we add a new line to identify a section. Why did that close? Oh, it's just index here, it didn't close. So we always push a new line, and that identifies a new section. So the one thing that could break this is if YouTube ever gives us a new line inside a section. But I don't think they do that. But then you don't want to code something based on I don't think so. It should be more confident than that. Because if they ever do push if they ever do give us a new line, then we would consider that an increase in the amount of sections when YouTube may not have sent us an increase in sections. And I don't think that's going to come out of text to speech. I mean, speech to text. Like you could add the data to the token, but then you'd be adding a property to each token. Remember I said like, so for each token you could do like section.tokens.map and then take a token and then t.timestamp equals, I think it's like section.timestamp, like that. And then every token has a timestamp, and then you can identify it like that and hard link it. But then you've got a timestamp on every single word, which is not ideal. But then the other not ideal here is if YouTube ever sends back a new line, but it's just not likely. Like, so this should work in 99.99% of cases or something, at least. Could be 100%. In the video, set circle index. Here we are. So it's not a process sections ref. What do we use in here? Oh, I don't think we even use anything. we don't have the process sections. But do we not save the sections at all? When we get them, what is that all we do? We just set the reader with the tokens? We don't do anything else with it, so we don't actually save the data anywhere, which we're going to need the data to identify which section's being used. Maybe maybe it is best to add it to the reader. Like instead of instead of having tokens, you'd have like sections here, sections like that. Would be an array. That sort of thing. Yeah. I just don't like that because when you're using the normal reader, then you're only using one section. It's like so it's like I have multiple ways to solve this, but like for example, I can just save the section information somewhere. I could do like set sections and just stick them there, and then get them from the store to identify which one's got the right timestamp to get the index. Or I can add the timestamp to every single word, or I can add sections to the reader. But which one's the right? Which one's the wisest? But yeah, closing in on the hour. I guess it's something I can let my subconscious chew on, which approach is best. I think it probably is the sections. I have a feeling that one of the reasons why I'm averse to adding sections is because it's the least lazy approach. But I feel like I'm biased in trying to justify it in saying, oh, well, the reader is only going to have one section. I mean, you could make the reader have multiple sections. Oh, and the reader probably does want to have sections, because when you're in the reader, one of the future features of the reader is we want to be able to like click on a section. And this might be too much for a section, like all of this. And then it translates it with ChatGPT. I wonder, where is that actually coming from? It's from the library. Let me just make this valid. And this valid, so we're in a valid state. We can remember when we come to it next time. So in the content library, in German, like so, we want to so that would count as a section, and then we want to like say like reverso. Why is it doing like that? English. So that's what we want to potentially do, but maybe that's too much, and I don't know if. So I was wondering if ChatGPT could do the translations, right? It's pretty good at them. And do it through the API. Translate this. Felt a little nervous, but also excited. Because feeling a bit nervous, but also excited. I know people who are natives in the language, so we can rate the translation accuracy. But if we can get it from like Reverso, or we've got DeepL as well hooked up as an API. But DeepL, so Reverso can be free. But I don't know if you've sent this much at a time at the API that it's going to actually give you a response, whereas ChatGPT is going to be consistent. But also, ChatGPT is expensive for the ChatGPT 4 model in the API. ChatGPT API token pricing. Do they still do 3.5? Looks like they discontinued it. Well, I say discontinued it. Well, see, here it is. There's 50 cents per million tokens. Like, whereas GPT-4 is $30 for a million tokens. But that's our benchmark, right? 50 cents. That's quite doable. And obviously, the kind of cost that you get almost like has to be passed on to users, right? This is $2.50. Oh, hello. This is much cheaper, isn't it? And I bet GPT-4 Mini is better than GPT 3.5. 01's the expensive one. 01 Mini is still expensive. So you'd be doing 4 Mini. And what did I just do? The only way I get 4 Mini to start giving me output is by posting a bunch of questions, and then it sets it for like 3 hours to the Mini, which I don't want to do because I don't want to. If I'm at work today and I actually want a good question answered, I'd rather it be the better model, rather than have to wait 3 hours potentially or get worse answers for 3 hours. But that's actually really good. So it used to be 50 cents. Now that it's cheaper, this is such a great price from what I previously thought would have to pay. Output tokens is still 60 cents per million. What's this? Fine tuning. Okay, I don't really know what fine tuning is. Although, if you were hooking up to a code base, you'd want to like give a permanent context like the code base, or I think they're called rags and stuff like that. Output 1.5. So 1.5 is still a lot, but then 04 Mini. Yeah, output is 60 cents. That's nothing. And with a batch API, it's cheaper. Yeah. Smarter and cheaper than GPT 3.5 Turbo. So, I could have just read that, but now I know how much cheaper. Yeah, before I end stream, I'm just going to think about. So what you want to do is like click on a section or something like and expand it, and it gives you the translation. Like if you're in the German, like for example, you'd want to like just like this sort of like expanding drawer maybe, or maybe the UX is considered better. You can expand a drawer and it gives you the whole paragraph, because one of the like criticisms of this behavior of the website is when you click on a word, yes, like Monday morning, that makes sense for this Monte Morgan. But some words are worse, like woke up, awoke, waking up. That makes enough sense. But then let's just, like for example, let's just do it. It was ein. See that's bad translation. That needs to be replaced. Like that's a. Sonniger, sunny. Monday morning. As me. So as I. See, as I woke up. Like If you had the actual so this is obviously like really basic German, and if you had slightly more complicated, the issues of this being translated to me, my, we rather than I, which would be correctly grammatical in this context. Like each translation is context void, devoid. So if you have the full paragraph, then it helps you not have to do as much work to figure out the actual word. So then it would make sense to have sections in the reader as well, because sections are going to be open, even though this is quite a lot in one go. But you can identify where you're at with the punctuation, right? So it was one sunny Monday morning, comma. So it was a sunny Monday morning. Oh, but it says when I woke up. See, the punctuation is changed. You'd maybe like just ChatGPT preserve the. It doesn't. Can you do the same but preserve the punctuation so I can look at words more one-to-one? Wonder if it can do that. Yeah, it was just a sunny Monday morning when I woke up. I felt a bit nervous, but also excited because it was my first day at school. Yeah, so all you need to do is let's just see if it no, oh come on, dude. I'll type the. It's like you need to say translate this while preserving the punctuation positioning. Like you don't want to be adding too much to the prompt if you're doing it programmatically. See, it didn't do it when I woke up. And that's something that you don't like. That's a problem with AI. So I can see translation more word for word. Yeah. You just have to give it. I mean, it's not deterministic, so you could give that prompt and you'll not have the punctuation preserved. But that's better than reverso, like just getting rid of it. Also, is this just plugged into ChatGPT 4 now? Like, I'm sure they had stuff before then. But yeah, anyway, that's enough extra work. So the conclusion is, when I was looking at this, I was saying, do I add a sections here? And the answer is yes, because the added benefit I wasn't previously considering is that we want to slide down sections in the reader anyway, to translate them section by section. Yeah, we want to do translations by sections. However we choose to do it. So that's it. As much as there's not really any visual progress, like the this looks the same as it did before, and so does the video. YouTube. Yeah, so this is the same as before. However, I've added a section such that they can be identified and ideated on what the right way is, because that's important in software. Just before I leave, it's important to, once you have a solution, is not just plow forward and make the first solution. Sometimes it's okay to just get to a green light. Like you actually saw when I was doing adding the sections, I had before I inverted the guard clause, I tested it to see if it worked, and then I refactored. So that's like the case for green lighting, but when you're doing like a completely different approach, from like inception, then you don't want to rush to a green light and then undo what you've done. Like, so if you're going for like one solution and you know it's the best solution, then yeah, go for green lighting. But if you've got 3 solutions on the table, it's best to take your time to think about which solution is the best one. And as much as like you could criticize and say like I've spent, I don't know, half an hour, 20 minutes choosing which solution to go for, it's way more cost effective than putting the wrong one in and then spending an hour or 2 undoing it. Especially in the future when you've forgotten about it and it's also more heavily integrated. Also, future decisions spring from good previous decisions. But that's it. I'll get ready for work again. Catch you later. Good. Wrong one.